Hello and welcome back to another episode of oh my gosh, we're starting off with a burp. Welcome back to another episode of the Who Asked Me podcast. You already know I am your host, Giselle, and we are going to do a solo episode today because I didn't book anybody and I didn't plan on being gone for 2 weeks. So, as most of you know, my last episode, I said that me and Megan moved in together. Woo! Right? And I only planned on being gone for a week. However, moving has taken a lot and it took me a minute to find all of my podcast stuff and get it set up. However, I am down in my brand new basement, which I love. It kind of looks like I'm recording this from a jail cell. If you are watching me on YouTube, okay, maybe not a jail cell. That was too much. Let me check myself. But it definitely gives conference center. I'm going to make the background cute. What's important is that we're here to yap. We're here to yap. I have some things to get off my fucking chest, okay? Okay. I really don't know what you want. We have some technical difficulties already. But Anora, the film Anora, won 4 out of the 5 categories that it was nominated for. I think it was best female lead. I Wicked won best costume design. A lot of people have been saying that they think the academies are waiting until Wicked Part 2 comes out to give it its things, its awards. I don't know anything about that. Do I put a lot of stock in the academy voting? Yes and no, right? It's one of those things where it's okay, who's in here voting? We don't know. I definitely didn't watch every movie. I had seen a lot of people were like, what is Anora? What is Anora? Blah, blah, blah. I had seen the trailer for it and I was like, oh, interesting. Maybe I'll watch it when it comes out on streaming. It did not speak to me. So the actress that won for best actress in a lead role, her name is Mikey, I believe. A lot of people have their think pieces on both sides, right? So she plays a sex worker. She thanked and shouted out the sex work community. She was like, it's full of amazing people. Their work is real work. And the sentiment was definitely in the right place. Unlike Amelia Perez, at least she thanked the community that she was representing in the film. Okay. But a lot of people also were saying this thin white passing, because I don't think the actress is white. I don't think so. I don't know though. Thin white passing woman is playing a sex worker, and that is how this film is getting respect for sex work. However, it's not representing sex workers of a larger size, sex workers that are POC or black and anything like that, because their stories, it's all built into intersectionality, right? And so I understand that. I completely understand that. I do think that when we talk about sex work, it is rare that they think of it. It's rare that they want anybody who is not thin and white to represent the sex worker in the movie. So I understand both sides. The girl still won the Oscar, or the woman, sorry. Good for her. Now, on to some things that I need to get off my chest. And I just want to say this, if you don't follow me on Instagram, I actually recorded a full episode last night of the podcast, and then I had an internet outage and half the episode was gone. And I was so frustrated. I was like, I have to pick this back up tomorrow, because one thing about me in this podcast, when I lose any footage, when I lose anything, I always take that as a sign. No, bitch, just hold on. You need to get back in the booth, as the kids say. And when I woke up today and I saw all this stuff, I said, so you see, this is exactly why I lost half that episode. There was a reason, okay? So now I have been seeing all of these clips from the Vanity Fair after party, from the interviews afterwards, and I have been like, you know what? This is why half the episode disappeared. So I'm speaking of Amelia Perez, as I mentioned a couple minutes ago. I'm going to play you a clip of Zoe Saldana after the award show talking about her award. Um, Now, if you are on, I'm not super familiar with Amelia Perez. I did not know anything about this movie until it came out. The two things that I know for certain about this movie are the lead actress is um, apparently she's trans but she's transphobic. She's ignorant. She hella ignorant. Okay. Some tweets got brought up. It was not good for Miss Mamas. It was not good. I said, God damn. And she would not apologize either. She was like, oh yeah, it was very much so like that. I think it was a TikTok, that girl on TikTok. If you can't see me, then you aren't gonna be able to see this. But it's like this black girl and she looks down and she's like, mm-hmm. Like, yeah, I said it. That's exactly what it was giving from Miss Mama, who like said all this. And these tweets were like from like 2020, not from high school, which I still don't give people grace for that because we're in 2025. But they're literally from like 5 years ago. We're like, oh, so this is how you feel. So Zoe Saldana got, I guess the interviewer person asking the question pretty much said that, as I don't know if the person was Mexican, but the Mexican community is not a fan of this film, right? I did also remember hearing that and seeing that somebody, an actor who is Mexican, criticized Selena Gomez's Spanish speaking. And one of my favorite TikTokers, Tell the Bees, he put it in such a good way of like how Selena Gomez receives criticism, and it's kind of like really self-deprecating. She's like, wow, oh my god, yeah, my Spanish definitely isn't the best, but I tried my hardest. And her fans in turn are always like, how dare you, she just tried really hard, like blah blah. Whenever somebody's like, wow, she sucks, she can't sing this, she's like, yeah, I definitely was out of tune, I'm sorry, I'm so bad. And I was like, that really hit the nail on the head. But he criticized her Spanish speaking, said that, they should have done more work with her. And, I'm not really sure of Selena Gomez's, her, oh, not the sound, not the clash. I'm not sure of the only word I can think of right now is 23andMe. Heritage. I'm not sure what it is, but the Spanish speaking was criticized, and it was valid. He had valid takes, but her fans came for him so hard for being a native Spanish speaker and criticizing her Spanish, which he's well within his right to do. Okay, you're making a movie that is based in Mexico, and that the movie is in Spanish. He speaks Spanish. He is an actor. He's well within his realm. I'm sorry to criticize it, but they came for him so hard. He ended up apologizing to her, and I was like, oh, this is how bullying works. But Zoe Saldana was asked this question about the film and how like Mexicans found it offensive, and I posted it, and let me tell y'all, the people in my DMs are like, no, yeah, we do not fuck with that movie. Fuck that movie. I said, oh, okay. I couldn't tell you the movie's about. I don't care. I'm not going to watch it. But Miss Saldana, let's get into what she said. And I'm honestly just going to play it for you because my God, I was gonna say it's very nice nasty. It's not even nice nasty. It's nasty nasty. Okay, so let's pull this up and we're going to listen. Oh, maybe not. Oh, there we are.
Mexicans felt offended. That was never our intention. We spoke and we came from a place of love, and I will stand by that.
Okay, gonna pause there. She said, I'm sorry if Mexicans felt offended. I said, oh, okay. Uh, mm, Continuing. Oops.
I'm very, very sorry that you and so many Mexicans felt offended. That was never our intention. We spoke and we came from a place of love, and I will stand by that. I don't share your opinion. For me, the heart of this movie was not Mexico. We weren't making a film about a country. We were making a film about 4 women. And these women could have been Russian, could have been Dominican, could have been black from Detroit, could have been from Israel. could have been from Gaza. And these women are still very universal women that are struggling every day at trying to survive systemic oppression and trying to find their most authentic voices. So I will stand by that. But I'm also always open to sit down with all of my Mexican brothers and sisters and with love and respect, having a great conversation on how Emilia could have been done better. I have no problem.
Okay, so first things first. Girl, why the fuck? What? To say we did not set out to make a movie about Mexico, the movie is set in Mexico and it's like you're speaking Spanish. So do you understand where people in the Mexican community could have been like, oh, like this? I was like, ooh. But then to say these women could have been black from Detroit, girl, black people other places from Detroit. Okay, I don't know what Detroit. Why Detroit's in it now? But not only that, the biggest thing I took away was from Israel, from Gaza. Why did you say that? Why did you say that? Unless you were living under a fucking rock, you know what's going on with Israel and Gaza right now. And telling a story about women from Israel, women from Gaza, that story with those women have very, very specific stories. So that those stories would be about Israel, about Gaza. Oh my God. I get it. You just won an award. You just won an Oscar, one of the highest awards that you can get as an actress. And it feels like somebody is coming in and just trying to talk about the negatives when this is your time to celebrate. I completely understand that. But the feedback is valid. You cannot sit here and act as if Emilia Perez has not gotten a lot of valid feedback. I often find myself thinking about like call out culture because obviously if you follow me, you know me, my job is always in the firing ranks for call out culture. And contrary to popular belief, I am always taking a step back and like looking at like, okay, like how can this be handled? What is the conversation that wants to be had? And that leads me into my next part of what she said. I'm always open to having a respectful conversation. Okay, your tone gives off different. I feel like when people are getting called out for something and then they say, I'm always open to having a conversation, are you open to actually having a conversation that goes two ways and listening to the other side? Or are you open to having a conversation and listening to argue, right? And listening to defend yourself on why you feel that you're right. It's not fun getting called out. I know it firsthand, especially when you are getting, it feels like you're getting called out by people who really don't know and are just basing it off of like how they feel about you, but they don't really know you and some of them don't have like firsthand experience. So I can totally understand that, but it was just nasty. Oh, nasty. You could tell that she got off that stage and was like, fuck that bitch. Fuck these people who hate the film. Blah, 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 blah. And my thing about the actress that got called out and her old tweets surfaced. What was it like on set when she was talking to y'all? Because from the tweets, it felt like she was one of those people that you work with that is like, oh, I know where you fall. And everybody has to remain professional, right? Contrary to popular belief, movie sets are workspaces. They are essentially offices. Okay, so you do have to remain professional on them. But it's just questions all around. The controversy surrounding the movie is crazy. The controversy surrounding the movie is like sticks out more so than the actual movie to me, because that's not a movie that crossed my path. I don't think it would be a movie that I would watch anyways, regardless of controversy or not. Excuse me. So moving on to the next piece of Oscar worthy news. So right before I got on here, when I was putting my little face on to get on here and talk to y'all, I was scrolling TikTok and I happened to see a clip from Hannah and Paige of Summer House and Giggly Squad interviewing, doing the live stream interview, which we know that they announced that they were doing, interviewing Meg the Stallion. And before I play this for y'all, I'm gonna say this. I'm gonna say two things. One, this is why this clip that I'm about to show you is why I can never, ever fully get on board with Giggly Squad, Hannah Burner, anything, because both Hannah and Paige have said things that I find to be microaggressive. And then when brought to the surface and called out about them, they're like, I'm literally just a girl. Like, I'm just trying to have fun. I didn't like even realize that that was ignorant. And it's like, okay, of course you didn't, right? I think when I play this for you, like you'll understand, you'll understand what I'm saying. And secondly, yes, I agree with Paige. If I have to pick a team, obviously I'm Team Paige in the Craig and Paige breakup. But again, this is why I just can't fully ever get behind. So we're gonna play this, and then we're gonna talk about it.
You give so much confidence to women everywhere. What do you do when you're not feeling confident?
I start my day with you.
We do.
Only you.
Oh my god, I'm gonna cry.
Don't cry.
No,
We're
don't cry.
live.
No.
Mind you, this question was asked to Meg the Stallion, and she hasn't even fucking spoken yet.
No, I know. No, your music has literally, like,
Changed
maybe
your life.
when I want to fight someone, I
Are you
listen to your
legit
music.
tearing up?
Because you want to throw that fight shit out the window. You're gonna be a bad bitch. When people are talking shit, I go, turn on Megan. I look beautiful. I look so great.
Okay, so sorry, my Ring doorbell went off during the middle of that. But as you heard, Hannah was interviewing Megan, and she said, and she asked, she said, whenever I want to fight somebody, I turn your music on. I'm going to be very, 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 very clear when I say this. It is microaggressive because it feeds into the angry black woman trope. But when it comes to music and rap music at that, and again, as a Meg the Stallion, y'all know I am a Meg the Stallion fan down. I have listened to all of her music. Megan does not rap about fighting. Meg the Stallion does not rap about fighting whatsoever. The argument could be, oh, but it's rap music. And to that, I have to say, the perception that rap music equals fighting is something that I feel so strongly about as somebody who has worked in the service industry for 13 years. I'm going to say this. I have seen the most fights happen when like rock or country music has been on. I have literally seen a bitch pick up a bar stool while Buck Cherry, crazy bitch, was on and throw it at another human being. I have seen more fights happen when a Jason Aldean song has come on, because most of the time when there's ass shaking music on, people are on the dance floor. They want to shake that ass. When you turn off that music, people go to the bar, they start talking more, and then they're drunk, and that's when the fights happen. I do not know how many times, how many venues I have worked at that fights have taken place and management owners have said, no more rap music, no more hip hop, no more this. That is bullshit, and that is racist. Okay? There is no ifs, ands, or buts about it. First of all, people are going to fight at bars, unfortunately. Unfortunately, people are going to fight at bars. But to say that it is because of rap music or hip hop music is racist. It is ignorant. It is not even microaggressive. It is macroaggressive, especially when you are sitting there talking to Meg the Stallion and saying your music makes me want to fight. And again, I'm telling you, Meg the Stallion does not rap about fighting. You can say that rap music is hype music, right? Hype does not mean fighting. Britney Spears has a song called Work, Bitch. Work, bitch. She is telling you to get up and work, bitch. That is considered hype music. Why is that considered a hype music that is worthy of being played in making a space safer, but not Meg the Stallion? And I'm gonna say this again. As a black woman, I get more hype from Meg Thee Stallions, and I feel more confidence from Meg Thee Stallions music than Work Bitch by Britney Spears. And I ain't got no problem with Work Bitch by Britney Spears. I don't know how many times I can tell you this, and I pray to God this woman does not see this, because she creep into my life every so often, and then we have the same argument. I had a manager at a venue literally say, and I don't care, I'm going to say the name of the venue, say, we need to clean up green room at Tin Roof, and because it's getting a little dark in here. And she said it to me and another Black employee. And we were sitting there like, what does that mean? What does that mean? I worked at a venue that's no longer open called Crown Room. Well, I didn't work in Crown Room. Crown Room was above. I worked for, what was that? Bud Brew House. And on top was a club called Crown Room. They used to be so much fun. They used to be popping. Then they came and said, no more rap music, no more hip hop, only like we're changing it to like lounge, only 90s, early hits. They couldn't play anything like past like 2000 or something like that. They're closed now. They're closed now. Because when you put these type of stipulations, it's literally because you don't want Black people in there. You don't want the wrong crowd. And another venue that I worked at, I will never forget this. When Migos, like the band Migos first came out, Bad and Bougie, for whatever reason, the owners of this venue did not want Migos played. I still find that very weird, because I was like, what did they do? Like, what did the Migos do? Like, what is it? Even though I know, right? I know. They were like, no Migos, no Migos, no Migos. Let me tell you the number one demographic of people who were going to the DJ booth asking to get Migos played. And it's a fucking sorority ass white girls, fraternity ass white boys that you actually want up in your fucking club. That is the number one demographic asking for that shit. So, is it and I'm gonna say it, is it the niggas that you really don't want in there, and that's why? Is it the niggas that really want that music, or is it the demographic that you claim to want so much? Obviously, I run a bar, we have DJs. I have never ever in my life told a DJ not to play a song. I have never in my life told a DJ not what to play. Well, back that up. One time we had a DJ that played nothing, like they just cleared the dance floor. They played nothing but like electronic music with no words, and that like people were complaining. So I just asked, if we could play some like top 40. But I have never ever said like no hip hop music. I have never said any of that shit. And you want to know what? Where I work now, I have had the least amount of fights in anywhere I have ever worked in my fucking career. So to sit there and say that Meg Thee Stallion's music makes you want to fight is ignorant. It's microaggressive. And Meg Thee Stallion handled that really, really well, because she was like, I don't know about fighting, but if you want to get up and be a bad bitch and look in the mirror, then like, yeah, that's my music for you. And then they sit there and ask her, do you cry? While Hannah sits there and says, I watched your documentary. So if you watch her documentary, then you know she cries. Are you okay? Are you okay? This is why, and I'm not giving Kyle like any credit here, but he had a point to what he was saying, when he called them the Giggly Squad. Y'all don't listen. Even when that interview is taking place, like you're not listening. You ask her a question, you're not listening, and you're just trying to say what you want to say. And it's crazy because you have limited time with these celebrities. You have limited time. You have to move to the next one. So you might want to let them fucking talk. And again, I don't know if I said this in the first place, but Vanity Fair, it's one thing that happened on the carpet in the first place, but nobody, and it was on a live stream, but nobody at Vanity Fair said, maybe let's just keep this in the lost files and never bring it up to the surface again. No, because that clip that I just played was straight from Vanity Fair's TikTok. They posted it. They went and found it and clipped it and posted it again. And the comment section did not disappoint. They are getting eaten the fuck up. Thank God. Thank fucking God. I mean, it just, I was like, well, Hannah Burner is going to Hannah Burner at the end of the day. Now, that leads me into something that I want to talk about, which is the Hannah Burner renaissance that I feel like is happening. Don't get me wrong. I have said, I think I said it in my Summer House review this week on TikTok. I find it mad nuts that Hannah Burner still gets that much of a rise out of Kyle, right? But Kyle won the battle, which is Summer House, but he's like slowly losing the war because he's overstayed his welcome. He's 43 years old in the Summer House still, and that the youngest person in the house is 25. I'm 30. I'll be 33 at the end of the month. I'm not. The only 25-year-olds I know are my employees or my like little cousins. I don't surround myself with 25-year-olds. I like, you know what I mean? It's just one of those things. And he succeeded. He got Hannah out of the Summer House. Excuse me. And he didn't, want to work with her anymore. But the fact that he is sending rage texts to Paige about Hannah is crazy. However, I see people over the past year, I want to say, like, try and say, like, Hannah was done so dirty, like, blah, 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 blah. She bullied her out of the house. I have to sit here and remind y'all, Hannah is not innocent. Hannah was not innocent when it came to that shit. Hannah ran her mouth on all them damn podcasts about the other people in the house. And yes, and I said this back then, and I stand by it. Yes, it did seem like a pile-on. However, Hannah was running her mouth about everybody. If you run your mouth about 7 different people, you cannot expect 7 different people to not have something to say. The fact that Carl had something to say and Kyle had something to say was 2 different things. Carl wasn't jumping in for Kyle. She upset these people. I'm not saying the way they handled it was all correct. And again, I'm not a Hannah Burner fan. I will say that I think the level of success that she has achieved since after like leaving Summer House, especially because she didn't leave on the best of terms in the public perception, I think the level of success she has now is great. I really do, because a lot of people would have been like, wow, people hate me. I'm just going to like fade into obscurity. She's obviously worked hard. She's doing her comedy specials. Her brand is not necessarily for me, but that doesn't mean that the girl is not successful in what she does. But I do not like when people sit here and rewrite history. Okay. And Lord knows I hate to stand up for a man, and I'm not necessarily standing up for a man here, but that Luke shit, I said it back then. I'll say it again now. Is Luke a fuckboy? Yes. Or was he in that situation? Absolutely. But I also remember Hannah acknowledging that he was being with other people. Okay. And still saying like, I don't care. I'm down to like just hook up. I'm down to do this. I'm down to do that. And I want to say, don't quote me on this, she said something to the effect of like, I don't like losing. So like, I'm not going to like pretty much succeed to another girl just because he's hooking up there. Whatever. It was dumb. Okay. I don't think that those moments should define her for the rest of her life, but I just don't like a rewriting of history. I really don't. It is one of those things. She doesn't need to continue to be dragged for them, but to act as if she was treated the way Jules was treated, and y'all know, I am captain of the Justice for Jules because they really were mean as fuck to that girl. And she was just there trying to do her job, trying to fit in with them, and they were mean as hell to her. To act like Hannah was a Jules, no, not doing that. Not doing that, okay? Speaking of Summer House, we're just going to move right along to the next topic. And this is probably going to just lead right into the man-hating portion of this podcast episode. A lot of people are like, you just seem like you really hate men. Correct. Of course, do I hate every man? No. Okay? No. But they often do things to piss me off. Carl being at the top of the list. Carl acting as if, like, I feel like Carl's having, like, he's kind of like having arguments in his head beforehand. And I know Lindsay, because we've seen the trailer, she's going to get baited into one of them. She really is. But he's making these comments that are like, oh, like, what am I not gonna like take part in Lindsay's like playing this game? No, it doesn't seem like there was like a sneak peek or whatever where they're playing the game for Lindsay's gender reveal. Lindsay wasn't like, I want everybody to play this game except for Carl. Like, she brought the game, you're playing the game, play the game with the rest of the cast if that's just like how you want it to be. We don't need to keep bringing up the fact that y'all were engaged. You dumped the girl 2 months before the wedding. And now she's pregnant, like with somebody else's baby. It's fine. It's all fine. We just have to like continue to be normal. However, I saw two things from Carl that pissed me off. One, he was doing, I believe, the Page Six podcast, virtual reality, and they like asked him how he felt when he saw that Gabby made that comment about his teeth. Gabby made a comment in the first episode that was like, I don't know what he's coming in here with his big ass teeth and blah blah. It was a throwaway comment. Carl is and Gabby is not the first person to talk about Carl's teeth, and she will not be the last. Carl does this thing where he sandwiches, is what me and my friends call it. So he says, I played sports all my life. I've been hit in the mouth multiple times. My teeth, I actually got made fun of for my teeth being, I think, yellow or something, he said, in season 1 when the show first came out. And then he says, now, we've all said things about people that were unkind. I know I definitely have said things about people on camera that were not nice and that I regret. And I think that's why people kind of like watch reality TV shows, is to hear like the shady stuff. And then he goes into, but I think as soon as you talk about somebody's body parts, that says more about you than me. I don't even have a relationship with Gabby. Gabby is clearly Lindsay's friend. And I can't believe she said that. No. You said it. Let's back that up. You said right then and there, we all have said things about people on this show that were unkind and that were not nice. I definitely have. So, grand opening, grand closing. It was a throwaway comment. Was it necessarily nice? No. Carl was mean as fuck to Jules, and I've never heard him say anything about it. Y'all say shady shit about each other. The comment was shady. Period. But he garners support and empathy and sympathy from people by saying, I was hit in the mouth a million times as a kid playing sports. People made fun of me about my teeth, my yellow teeth at first. And then, even though I've taken part of this and I've done this as well and blah, blah, but no, fuck that. Fuck that. And all the comments are like, what does Gabby bring to the show? But what does Gabby bring to the show? Are y'all saying that those veneers bring something to the show? They don't bring anything to the show. This is not Gabby versus the veneers. Gabby said a comment about Carl. Okay? And now but what does Gabby bring to the show? What does Carl bring to the show except for dumping Lindsay? And now acting like he's so scared to be around Lindsay. Y'all want to choose the veneers over Gabby? Like, it's just stupid. What are we talking about? Kind of how I feel about people acting outraged that even the people on the cast that Sutton said, like, pick on somebody whose wallet fits. And they're like, no, we are not doing that. Are you kidding me? The shit that we've heard on Real Housewives of Beverly Hills, the shit that people have been called, and we're shocked that Sutton's calling Dorit Porrit. Yeah, it's a low blow. Yes, it's insulting. Y'all want to watch these shows of people being kind and never losing their shit and not having shady shit to say? What are we talking about here? It ain't no fun when the rabbit got the motherfucking gun. Okay? It's all fun. And listen, as a professional shit talker myself, I talk shit about people. When I will say this. I've heard shit people have talked about me. Back in the day when I was younger, I would be like, oh no, how dare they, blah, blah. People say all type of shit. People that I know from around town, in the little small community that I'm in, say shit all the time. Untruths about me and my ex-husband. Untruths about my girlfriend. Some girl tried to fucking tell me that my girlfriend was being disrespectful to strippers. And my girlfriend has never been in the strip club that she claims that she was in. And she had never hung out with the people that she claimed she had been with. So, like, whatever. You know what I mean? It is what it is. It's society. And now, there obviously is a line sometimes, but the veneers are not the fucking line. Okay? And again, all of those comments of, oh, poor Carl. Carl's doing so well, blah, 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 leads me into my next video that I saw about him. This man was on TikTok in a warehouse in some neighborhood in Brooklyn that he claims is the best, his favorite, talking about launching something called Soft Bar. And if I had to guess, because he didn't explain it in the video, I would think that this is the sober bar, mocktail bar that he is wanting to open that we heard about on Summer House. And he's driving a forklift or some type of machinery, and he literally says, "We are crowdfunding, and for a donation as small as $250, you can invest in Soft Bar." The type of sympathy and empathy this man gets is why he is on TikTok asking for a donation as small as $250 fucking dollars to launch Soft Bar. He is a reality TV star. He is a senior reality TV star at that. That man makes enough money well, let me back that up. I don't know if he makes enough money because I don't know what his business plan is. I don't know what he's trying to launch, but what I do know because I do it is my job and my career, is I do know how to run a bar. And let me tell you this, running a bar in Missouri is expensive. So I promise you, running a bar in New York is expensive, but you need to find your own investors. You are asking the reality TV viewers for a small donation of $250. Do you know what types of times we are living in? Do you know what type of time you're living in? The people that you want to invest is not the viewers of Summer House. It's not. And I'm sorry. If you give Carl $250 of your money, you're dumb. That man has more connections to make that happen than getting our money. Sometimes the audacity of a mediocre white man really, 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 really still surprises me to this day. Crowdfunding for Soft Bar. And I don't give a fuck what type of business professional may be listening to this and say, actually his business plan is blah, blah, blah. I think it's fucking ridiculous and you're not going to change my mind on that. Okay? Thank you. And you know what? I was very vocal last season when he said that he wants to open a sober bar. And I do still feel like it's kind of not smart, because I speak for myself when I create drink menus, y'all. I can speak on this, right? Me and my team, created a whole mocktail menu for dry January, and it did great. It did better than our mocktails usually do, and I do get a lot of sober drinkers in the venue that I manage. We get a lot. I like to carry like a good amount of options for people who do not drink. I can tell you the sales of what the mocktails did and the NA options did were not enough to keep the bar afloat. Okay? That's all I'm going to say on that. If Kyle crowdfunded for Loverboy, he didn't ask the viewers for it. I'm going to say that, okay? And Amanda just launched her swimsuit line. Yes, she did it with a company, so obviously the company probably backed like a lot of the costs and everything for it. But she didn't ask us. She didn't ask us to get it off the ground. She wants us to buy it, but she didn't ask us to do it. I was like, I know not. I know this man is fucking lying. I was shocked. I really, really was. I really was. Whew. Okay, I think that's all of them. No. I am going to drag Kyle a bit. Amanda did a podcast. And she talked a lot about her mental health, how she's doing. It was a really, really good interview. And it honestly reminded me why y'all know I used to be a Batula hoop. I really did like Amanda. And I hate that the Kyle of it all, the man, has made me like side. Well, it's not all about like Kyle, but most of it. And she said that Kyle wants her to be at his DJ sets that sometimes don't start until 1 a.m. And you know what pisses me off about that is when, first of all, stop. In the words of Paige, you're pretending to be Diplo. You would have us believe that it's not a midlife crisis. The Ferrari would be a midlife crisis, but I would argue that the DJing is a midlife crisis, okay? You know that your wife loves to be at home. You know that your wife does not want to be in the club. So the fact that I feel like his ego is so like fragile, so just you could crush it like that. He is like, I don't care that you like to be at home. I need you to be at my DJ set that doesn't start till 1 a.m. Anyways, another thing she said was that she felt like a lot of the online chatter did like kind of affect how she would argue with Kyle. And to that, I have to say, ironically enough, I need Amanda to get offline a little bit. Amanda, if you make content, then you kind of know Amanda is chronically online. She is chronically online. And she talks about her mental health and her depression. I don't think being online that much helps. Especially when you're in the position that you're in, you're a reality TV star. You know what I mean? And I can understand. I feel like if I was in her position, I would take, and we've seen it, a lot of reality TV stars do that. They look at the online chatter and they see what people are saying, and then they kind of like take it to the screen or bring it to the arguments and things like that. Other people have like been like, oh, did you get that from the comment sections in the arguments? So I understand, but I'm like, I want her to limit the screen time for her own health, because like people are always going to be talking shit as I sit here in this room by myself talking and shit into a microphone about these people I don't know. I want her to just back up online, because it's to a certain point, it's not super healthy. But she seems to be per her words, doing a lot better with her mental health journey and everything like that. And I love that for her. I love that for her, because I feel like after the wedding, you really could see like her just being really down. And I hated that. I don't want to see a bad bitch down. I don't ever want to see a bad bitch down, ever. Okay. Now, I know some of y'all are probably gonna be like, we are 41 minutes into this fucking podcast episode and she has not spoken once about Karen. It's time. Karen's going to jail. And the more and more we find out about the fact that Karen is going to jail for a year, 2 years, one on house arrest, one in the clankety clank. The more we find out about that, it's like this could have been so avoidable. First of all, by not drinking and driving. This is her 4th DUI. 4. Count them. 1, 2, 3, 4 DUIs. That's crazy. Okay? One is crazy. Really, truly. But 4th DUI, the plea deal originally was 6 months. 6 months in the clankety clank. Because why? 4 DUIs. You are not avoiding jail. 4. You've done the same thing. You've broken the same law 4 different times. You gotta do some time. We gotta be accountable here. Okay? But the plea deal was 6 months. So I don't know who her lawyer was, who her law team was. I have no words. I have no words whatsoever. Plea deal, 6 months in jail because for something you did. We all saw the footage. That's my other thing. Did y'all see that body cam footage? Y'all being Karen's legal team and Karen, and really say, yeah, let's still take this trial. Who? What? Where? When? And why? Okay? But since she didn't take the plea deal, she ended up getting a year in jail. And not only that, they didn't give her no time to prepare, no time to go home, pet the dog, cut the lawn, anything. They took her right off to jail. Took her, get your ass in jail. Because why? You are a threat to society. You are a threat to the DC, Maryland, Potomac streets. Because you can't put the Stella Rosa bottle down and not get behind the goddamn wheel. So, now you're in jail. And they will not stop, pause filming for Potomac while she's in jail. And duh, okay? You know what? One thing I always want to ask, the people who decided this, is if the production company, Bravo, regrets not filming while Teresa was away. Because, pausing Real Housewives of New Jersey altogether. Because I do feel like it has made Teresa feel like she is the show. And please, tree huggers, please. I can hear y'all typing already. Send it to your fucking friend. Call me a dumb bitch to your fucking friend. I don't care. Okay, on a show that is an ensemble cast. Ensemble. Do we need to bring out Merriam-Webster and define an ensemble? In a show that is an ensemble cast, I do think that it is a mistake to stop the show for one person. What's that saying? One horse don't stop no circus or whatever. I don't know. Y'all know what I'm trying to say though. Right? So I wonder if they regret that decision, because I do feel like it's led to us being where we are now with New Jersey, which is New Jersey is not happening right now. It's on pause. So yeah, that's happening. Karen, you did it to yourself. I can't stand beside it. Now I want to talk about another comment that I've been seeing I've seen being made about Karen's jail sentence. And I really just have to call these people stupid, because that's what they are. And it's not a lot of people, it's a small amount of stupid people. But people saying that Karen's sentencing is racist because white housewives have gotten DUIs and not done any jail time. This is how I know you are too involved in Bravo. You need to go outside and touch fucking grass. Housewives don't get tried in a different judicial system than fucking everybody else. They still live in the United States of America. They don't send them to a different court. Shannon Bedore getting a DUI in California is different than Karen Huger getting a DUI in Maryland. It's state by state. Mind you, I live in St. Louis, right? I am used to live in Southern Illinois, 20 minutes away. A lot of people work in or live in Illinois, work in St. Louis, or vice versa, so they commute. Okay? Missouri and Illinois laws on drunk driving are vastly different. Illinois is a zero tolerance state. Zero tolerance. Missouri, a little bit more tolerance, and I find it nuts because I know people who have gotten DUIs in Illinois, and again, zero tolerance. They have to work when they were 19, and they have to work really hard in their 30s to get that off of their record so they can do just basic stuff, right? Missouri, I know people who have gotten chance after chance after chance, and they put that little breathalyzer in your car after one or two chances. At least they used to. I don't hang out with people who drink and drive, get DUI. So I have friends who have gotten DUIs, but it was one and done. They didn't need to get another one. You know that I have lost a friend due to drunk driving. Actually, a couple friends due to drunk driving. So the tolerance is state by state. Okay. They don't try. Karen Huger and Shannon Bedore weren't tried in the same goddamn courts. What could be considered racist is if Bravo fired Karen for getting the DUI and getting the DUI alone. That could be considered racist because other housewives have gotten DUIs and not been fired. But the sentencing, not racist. 4 DUIs is nuts, especially for a grown-ass woman like Karen, okay? Speaking of, we're going to stay on the Potomac train. So I knew, it wasn't a shock to me because everybody had been saying this on the internet, that TJ's big bomb that he shared with Eddie was that Stacey paid him to come on there and act like her friend, right? Because technically Stacey didn't call, I don't think she ever actually called TJ her boyfriend. And she said, that's my friend, my best friend, blah, 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 blah. He dropped that bomb. And Stacey, let me say this about Stacey. I am not really feeling her because I noticed that Stacey rarely answers questions directly. Rarely. And for me, it's a tall tale sign that she has something to hide. Stacey, I think, is putting on and giving this ditzy kind of persona, just like they said the first part of the reunion when they were talking about Vivian in the dress, and Stacey tried to give the pageant girl QVC answer, and she was like, why would she put me in another dress that one of my co-stars has been in? And Wendy's like, that's not what you said. You said fuck that bitch. And then Kierna, it was really kind of passing, but Kierna, I think, or maybe it was Jazzy, I can't remember which one, literally said, that's the real Stacey. That's how she talks. That's what I experienced in, where did they go with that lake house? Was it Lake Norman? I think, yeah. She was like, that's what I experienced at the lake when we were in the room and the cameras weren't up. Like, that is the real Stacy. Okay. And then I guess Taria had told me the streets were saying that apparently Stacy leaked her announcement of being on the show because she thought Bravo was taking too long. As soon as I found out that Stacy was an Aries, I said, oh. Because Andy asked her on like Watch What Happens Live last night, like, are you scared of the like TJ producing any receipts? And she goes, do I seem scared? Again, with the rarely answering questions directly. Yes or no? Are you scared? It's do I seem scared? And let me tell you something about an Aries, because woohoo, I'm an Aries myself. There have been times when I've been caught up in something and on the inside, yeah, I'm freaking the fuck out. But in front of you, you would never know. You would never fucking know. I've literally had people tell me like, oh, well, like, I don't know, because like you seem really calm right now. I'm like, yeah, I'm good. I'm good. Now, I know my heart is in my chest going pitter fucking patter. Okay. But no one else. I see that in Stacy. I see that. Now I don't know what type of, I think Stacey's a smart woman. I don't know what type of contract they had, but I would be willing to bet that there's something in there about not spilling this that TJ probably didn't read because he probably just needed some screen time and wanted to get his career up off the ground again, because I feel like he hasn't been booked since Sister. That was shady. Obviously, he told us that he was on the set of Grey's Anatomy. I don't watch that show, so I didn't see him. But I would be willing to bet that if he does, she's just going to tie him up in court, and he ain't got that type of money. So that is my 2 cents on the matter. I'm not saying that I don't think Stacy should come back. It's just my thing is I'm really annoyed by that because we're kind of getting another Mia in a sense. Like you're like manufacturing storylines. You're bringing not truths to the show. And I don't like that. You know what I mean? What else? I haven't watched Southern Hospitality from last week, but I did see a clip of Will saying the least he could do for Emmy is propose to her. And I'm like, okay. Apparently he's quitting the show too. A couple of things that I want to just touch on. So I don't know if I've ever talked about it on this podcast before, but I love Suits. I know I've talked about it on Instagram. I love the show Suits. And Suits LA came out. It premiered last week. And let me tell y'all something. I'm very conflicted because I watched it and it took me a minute to get through the first episode. I was like, I think in the first episode it was like 40 minutes. That first 20-ish minutes, I wasn't interested. I was like, no, I don't like this. I felt like they were trying to just put people in the places of the original cast, right? But at the back half of the episode, I was like, oh, we might be working with a little something here. We might be working with a little something. However, the chatter online has not been positive, so I'm really interested to see how this first season goes, and I really hope that if it is good, they don't discount it before it even really gets off the ground. You know what I mean? I think for me, and obviously I hate to like compare, but of course I'm going to compare because it's a spinoff. I think for me, the first episodes of Suits has you like hooked because Mike is lying. Mike's not a lawyer, but he's freaky smart. And Harvey knows that he's not a lawyer. So you're like, oh, okay. Like you're kind of hooked instantly. This first episode of Suits LA, you have this merger that happens. And then one of them like kind of like screws the other one over. And it's like, okay, all right. But then towards the end, you kind of tie into like what this dude's deal is and like what he's running from. And then it kind of hooks you in that part. So I will say that. Then the other thing that I watched is like, I don't remember if it's like South Point Gardening Club, West Point Gardening Club. I don't know, something like that. The Gardening Society. It's with the girl from How to Get Away with Murder. Now, Miss Mama is in a lot of shows about getting away with murder because the first part of the show, they're burying a body. But she's good at her job. And I was interested. It also has, I can't remember where I saw that girl from with the short hair. I don't know. But it also has Asian Bae from Insecure in it. I'm not calling him Asian Bay. This literally was his nickname on the show. I think his name is Xander Hodges, but that's what Issa and Molly called him, like Asian Bay, right? Because Molly had never dated somebody outside of her race, but I love him. So he's in it a little bit too. He plays the husband. So it's got some good bones there. It's got some really good bones there. I'm very interested. On that note, we're going to go ahead and wrap up this episode. I'll be back next week with a guest and with a new episode. I am so excited. Don't forget to follow me on Instagram, Who Asked Zell is my personal page, Who Asked Me Podcast is podcast page. And of course on YouTube, which if you're watching this, you are already on my YouTube page. Don't forget to hit subscribe, follow, turn on the notification so you can see every time I post. I will talk to y'all next week.